father sprinkled anti-corrosion agent on the cliff and prayed for his son's body to be spared from flying. However, when he turned around and left for a short time, a 3-day-old boy was about to die. When the boy was about to die, the boy woke up miraculously and grabbed the boy and twisted his neck. He tried his best to call for help, but he had already fallen far away at this time. He was injured all over his body. He looked at the bottom of his bones and felt a strong courage. He began to climb along the cliff, but he just crawled out a few fingers and died. The whole person was hanging in the air at this time. The situation had advanced 2 steps. What's worse is that the sky suddenly clouded. The heavy rain fell like a waterfall. However, the boy's toughness was beyond ordinary. He persisted on the windy cliff for 8 hours. When he looked at the bottom of his bones again, he found that the water level had risen to an unimaginable level, so he made an extremely bold choice the next day. The boy woke up from the mud. He struggled to get up at this time. One of his legs could no longer move. He climbed to a puddle and took a sip of wine from 20,000 years ago. He also accidentally found an ant. After the wine was full, he took out the right foot from the boot. It's just that the whole foot has been cut off. It looks very serious. The boy moved 2 stones to hold the right foot as soon as he choked. He took the bones, then he found a wooden stick to fix the ankle and made a simple nail for himself. After a while, the boy began to walk. He walked very far and finally came to the top of the cliff. At the edge of the cliff, he found the tombstone that his father had set for him. It turned out that his father was the leader of the tribe. The day he fell off the cliff, everyone thought he was dead. Only his father shouted at him all night at the edge of the cliff. But for the safety of the tribe, his father could only take his people back because there were still women and children in the tribe who needed protection. Knowing that his father had long left, he helplessly lied on the ground. Suddenly a wolf howl was heard. He looked up. A group of wild wolves were coming this way. He turned in the opposite direction, but the wolves were too fast. He was soon caught. He tried to climb the tree, but was bitten by a wolf from behind. At the critical moment, the boy drew a dagger and stabbed the wolf. He finally got rid of his father and climbed the tree, but the wolves under the tree didn't want to leave. They howled at each other under the moonlight. The scene was both charming and dangerous. Fortunately, the wolves finally dispersed. The next day, only a wounded wolf was left. He made a long hair with a dagger and a wooden stick. Then he raised the long hair high and was ready to end the wolf's life. But when he got close, he heard the wolf howling. Looking at the poor boy, he thought he was abandoned by the tribe. The boy couldn't do anything. He tied his mouth with a rope and took him to the river to clean his wound. At this time, the boy found several wolves on the hill. It turned out that his companion didn't go far. He found a secret cave and threw the wolf aside. Then he fell on the ground and fainted. The next morning, when he woke up, the wolf had already removed the rope on his mouth and stared at him. But the boy wasn't afraid. Instead, he took a bowl of water and got closer. When he saw that the boy wasn't hungry, the wolf immediately relaxed his vigilance and drank the water in the bowl. The boy also found some unknown insects. Although he didn't eat enough, he still gave half of it to the wolf. But this food didn't solve the problem at all. So the next day, he went hunting. Fortunately, he found a rabbit on the grass. He picked up the stone and smashed it. This is the first prey in his life. The boy, who went back to the cave, learned to drill wood and drive a drum. After a whole day of hard work, he finally ate the fragrant roasted rabbit meat. This can make the wolf next to him drool. The boy told him to be obedient if he wanted to eat meat. As soon as the sound of the voice dropped, the wolf lowered his head like a dog. Seeing that he was so obedient, he threw a piece of bone to him. The next day, the boy was about to go back to the tribe. He asked the wolf to go back to his wolf pack. But no matter how the boy drove, he refused to leave. The boy had no choice but to go alone, but the wolf always followed behind him. The boy stopped, and he stopped. The boy walked, and he walked. He threw a stick to try to drive him away, but the wolf went like a puppy and brought the stick back. In this way, the two began to walk together. The boy also gave the wolf a name, Alpha. They hunted while walking along the way. With the help of Alpha, the boy didn't worry about eating or drinking at night. They played together every morning. Alpha would wake him up on time. Although there was a difference in language and species between them, the trust and dependence between each other was getting deeper. However, this kind of trust is destined to lead to challenges. On this day, they found a few wild boars. Alpha rushed up. Without hesitation, the boy was nervously preparing to attack with a long spear. Unexpectedly, he was hit by a wild boar on the spot and watched the prey slip away. Alpha had no choice but to watch this two-legged beast. After all, the master chose it himself. From then on, the wolf and the man will cooperate with each other to hunt. As expected of the wolf king, Alpha killed the wild rabbit several times on the ground, but in the face of his own food, Alpha wanted to be the first to eat, but was rejected miserably. Yes, I'm hungry in the middle of the night. Due to the cold weather, Alpha wanted to rest with the boy, but was rejected miserably after the smart Alpha waited for the boy to fall asleep. Alpha came to the boy's bed the next morning. Alpha hadn't woken up yet, so he woke the master up in his own unique way. The boy who woke up smelled the smell. He took Alpha, who hadn't showered for 3 years, to the river and threw him into the water. This was Alpha's first time in the river. He was so excited that he vomited water by the way. He caught a fish for the master on the way. The boy deliberately blew the whistle and teased Alpha so that he thought he had food in his hand. So the wolf and the man were not comfortable on the road, and the boy also learned a lot of wild survival skills from Alpha. It was winter soon. The boy and Alpha made great progress in hunting. They hunted a wild boar in 3 days. They thought they could be together forever until this evening, when they were eating. A fierce wolf appeared behind them. The boy immediately picked up a long spear to alert the boy. Alpha rushed to pick it up, but the wolf was really taken away by him. Then he looked back at Keda. Keda understood that he wanted to go back to his tribe, so he said to Keda, "Happy birthday." Alpha was reluctant to look at Keda and disappeared into the night without Alpha's company. Keda could only set out alone to find the journey of the tribe every night. He would miss Alpha. It was hard to fall asleep. I don't know how long he had been gone on this day. In a heavy snow, he seemed to see Alpha's figure again, so he ran after Alpha unexpectedly. The ice layer under his feet suddenly cracked, and he fell into the ice cave. The dark current under the water rushed him away. At this time, a wolf suddenly appeared on the ice. It was Alpha, who came to save him. He tried his best to break the ice, but because he was too light, he had no way to do it. Fortunately, he used the dagger he carried with him to break the ice. Alpha bit his arm and pulled him up the ice-cold river, made him shiver. He didn't have time to rest and hurried to a burial site. After the fire was ignited, he took off his frozen clothes and lay in the snow to warm Alpha. Although Keda was seriously ill, Alpha did not leave him this time. Instead, he accompanied him through the snow. On this day, they finally saw the first human. For a long time, Keda was very happy, but when he came over, he found that this person had already been frozen to ice. The hope that had just been ignited was so broken. He searched in the tent for a long time and found no food. He only found a bow and arrow in this person's hand. There was no way for them to continue, but before they left, they met a snowstorm. He hurriedly ran with Alpha in a panic. They ran into a cave. Alpha stared at the deep cave. It turned out that there was a big black bear hidden in the cave. The big black bear saw Keda and jumped up directly at a critical moment. Alpha rushed up and bit this big black bear, but because the size of the difference was too large, the two beasts were killed. Alpha was soon killed one-sidedly. Fortunately, Keda shot the big black bear with a bow and arrow, but Alpha was also seriously injured. He stood up and made sure that Keda was fine. He couldn't hold on anymore and fell down. Keda set fire to help Alpha warm up and help him wipe his wound. At this moment, he had regarded Alpha as his own people. After a brief rest, they began to continue on their way one by one. They were all dragging their seriously injured bodies and trudging forward. I don't know how long it took. Keda finally saw a human pile of blood. He walked over and opened the thick blood. This is the sign of their tribe. He knew that he was not far from home. The snowstorm was getting bigger and bigger. Every step they took was supported by a strong wall. Finally, Alpha couldn't hold on anymore and fell down. Keda walked over and gently touched Alpha and told him that he would never abandon him. He hugged Alpha tightly and kept walking forward. Even if they were to die, they would die together. Until that night, Keda couldn't walk anymore. He fell into a coma on the snow, as if he saw his parents missing him. The strong will of survival suddenly woke him up. He continued to walk with Alpha in his arms. At this moment, Alpha in his arms didn't know if he was alive or dead, but he still didn't give up under his endless efforts. He finally saw his tribe. He walked into the tribe in a faint. When he saw his father, he couldn't hold on anymore and fell down. His father hugged him in his arms happily, and he pointed to Alpha before he went into a coma and said only one thing: let his father save him. When he woke up again, he found Alpha lying next to him, and he gave birth to a pack of little wolves. Alpha was pregnant and fought hard to protect him. Not long after, under the care of his tribe, Keda and Alpha finally recovered. Alpha's little wolves grew up gradually. Not long after, when everyone in this tribe went out to hunt, they would bring a wolf with them. In this way, the first dog in the world was born. They also gave these wolves a very nice name, Wolf Dog.